Every movie is a real journey, and I always go into directing like I've never directed before. It's fear. It's a fear factor, really, that drives you on.
Congrats on Memory coming out.
Oh, thank you, Ash.
Can you walk me through just how you and Memory came together? What grabbed you about this story? How did it get started?
Well, very simply, this is a remake, actually. There was a Belgian film made in 2003 called Memory of a Killer, and it was a very good movie. And in 2013, someone gave me the DVD, which I really liked. I tried to get the rights and couldn't, and 3 years later, I tried again, got the rights, had a script written, managed to get the money to get a script written, sent it to Liam Neeson, met Liam. He said, I really want to do this. And of course, I get the money then to make the movie because Liam was in it.
Liam Neeson is fantastic, but were you surprised you two haven't worked together yet? It feels like a match like made, you know?
Yeah, well, he was a very busy man. I mean, it never occurred to me, and a lot of people have asked me that question. But uh, and now, of course, I look at it, and yes, it probably is surprising that we haven't worked together. I mean, given that he's Irish and I lived in England for many years, so you know, it probably is surprising.
Is there anything that surprised you about working with him? Did anything he did that you didn't expect?
Well, first of all, he's a terrific actor to work with. He doesn't want to produce. He doesn't want to direct. He doesn't want to. He's not into any of that. He simply wants to act, and he likes acting, and he likes action. I mean, that's the other thing, which is why he does so many action films. I don't think this is an action film. It's got action in it, but I think what attracted him was the complexity of that character, a hitman getting Alzheimer's, and how that affects the film, his relationship with Guy Pearce, where they both come together in the interests of justice, want to bring down the bad guys. So I think all of those elements, appeal to him. And he's such a terrific actor. I mean, the thing is, so much empathy with that guy. You just like him. I've said it before, but it's like Tom Hanks. How can you not like Tom Hanks? And it's like Liam. How can you not like Liam Neeson?
I was lucky to interview him, and I just love that he, like, instead of just answering the questions, he tells stories with it too. Like,
Yes,
I love that.
anecdotes. Yeah,
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 I love
he's
that.
great.
And I
He's
almost
done,
didn't
he's done over 100 films, Liam.
Yeah. I asked him too. I was like, "How many people do you think you've killed on screen?" And Guy Pearce, I almost didn't recognize him.
Well, the thing is, in the original film, he was much younger. He was in his early 30s, and I just wanted a more an older guy who's been in the force for a longer time and who really bears the scars of having to an honest cop dealing with the corruption, basically that around him. Neither of his bosses want to. The DA or his boss, they don't want to prosecute this case. It's self-interest. They don't want to do that, and it's really, when he and Liam come together, essentially, and in the interests of serving justice. That's kind of relationship between them both is, I think, I was fascinated by.
What would you say the biggest changes you made from the original to your version of the story?
The opening scene in the movie is something that's not in the original. The ending is very different from the original. And to be honest, I hyped up the action a little more than it was in the. Don't forget the original in Belgium. They didn't have a big budget, but they made a damn good film out of having little money. But I at least could enhance the action, perhaps more than was in the original movie. Apart from that, there's little tweaks and adjustments and so forth. I stage things differently, but the dramatic elements of the story all remain the same.
You've introduced two James Bonds, The Mask of Zorro, one of the most beloved movies. What have you found appeals to you most to get you in the director's chair?
Appeals to me most.
Yeah, like what do you look for?
Well, I think the check that they pay me is probably the most fascinating part of it.
Yeah.
The most horrible if I don't get much money. It's just the challenge of doing it. The thing is that it's tough. Directing is tough because just all the political all the political you have to put up with before getting a movie. The actual directing part is pretty small, but getting a movie made, cast, financed, all of that stuff, the political shenanigans you have to go through, and then finally you get your movie up and running, you shoot it, and you hope to God that you're going to get your cut, and then dealing with the notes afterwards, often ludicrous notes that and so on and so forth. But somehow the process it's a journey. Every movie is a real journey, and I always go into directing like I've never directed before. I go, can I pull this one off? Is it going to be okay? Are people going to, is it going to work? Are the actors the right actors? And it's fear. It's a fear factor really that drives you on. And it's only when I get in the editing room at the end of it, I'm thinking, oh, thank God, the shooting's over. I can sit back, and the film can only get better by sitting in the editing room and cutting it. So
yeah, I was going to ask, I was like, what's the moment where you're like, whew, okay.
Like in the editing room at the end of it, But that's the exciting part for me.
What was the biggest challenge in making Memory? Was there a moment where you were like, oh, shh?
I don't think there were. First of all, I had bloody good actors. That makes a big difference. We all got on well. We got time to rehearse before we shoot. Everybody liked the script. Everybody got on well together, right? And sometimes that doesn't happen, by the way. Sometimes you get lucky, and I got lucky on this movie.
Is there something you talk about there's a journey to even get the films made. Is there something that you really have your eye on that you would love to direct, but it just hasn't happened yet?
No, not really. Is that people say, well, is there that movie that you really want? Absolutely not. No, I get offered scripts. Some of them are. Most of them a lot of them are not very good. I just do it on instinct. I say, well, I like the script, I'd like to do it. And, that's the way it works. In the case of Memory, it was simply seeing the movie, which I thought would transpose wonderfully to the US-Mexican border, because sex trafficking is the sort of backdrop to the movie. So it's obviously a place where that is prevalent. So it seemed to be a perfect fit.
Would you ever do another superhero film or anything like that?
No, I'm not good at superhero movies. Green Lantern, the people didn't like that movie. And frankly, I shouldn't have done it. I mean, I did it because I'd never done one. You work just as hard on the movies that don't really are not successful as you do on the ones that are. So I think there are better people better qualified than me to direct superhero movies.
Well, you got Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds together, so.
Well, I did. That of course, is the success of that movie, And
Yeah.
By the way, both terrific people, honestly. And Blake's hilarious. She used to cook little cakes for us every morning on set. She'd bake them herself and bring them onto set. And Ryan was a terrific guy as well.